I come from a poor family, yeah. We ain't never had a lot, yeah. But the Lord been good to us, yeah. Now we riding on the top, yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Builder of All Things, where we will be talking about life, faith, and business with Richie and Tiffany, owners of Hawaii's best builders, All Things New. Guys, we're back.
We are back.
Welcome back, guys.
In the house.
I'm super excited to have Tiffany join us. I was real interested to see, she's going to be able to wake up this morning and get over here.
Look.
She claims to be this early bird.
I wake up early every morning.
With me.
Yes.
Yes.
I just don't get out of bed.
No, man. She's, it's crazy. Like, when I wake up, my whole goal in the morning is to be a ninja. Be as quiet as possible, because I don't want to wake up.
Because I'm a late sleeper.
She is a very
super
light sleeper.
You can breathe.
Light. I thought you said late.
Oh, no, light. Very light. You breathe. Light. I feel the air in the room change, and I'm like, yeah.
It's a challenge. So when I move the doorknobs, shut the doors, pull out my toothbrush, my toothpaste real quietly, and then my deodorant falls. Boom! Like, oh my gosh.
She wakes up.
I mean, the way my feet go through the carpet, I'm trying to be I'm trying to be a ninja so she could sleep in.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's what time do you get up every morning?
It depends what time you get up.
But I mean, like, when you get out of bed.
About 7. My alarm is 7:30.
7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like 4:30, 5:30, 6 at the latest.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
I want
early,
her to
guys.
I want her to, well, not too bad.
Yeah.
It's early. If he sleeps in, then I'll probably sleep in.
What is your motivation to get up? I'm sorry.
Well, I do have to get Liam ready most times. So.
Liam's our grandson, 5 years old. She does wake up. And
if I'm not getting him ready, I just want to make sure that he's getting ready because I take him to school.
My motivation is coffee. As crazy as that sounds, it's like as soon as my eyes open, I'm like, I get super excited to go get coffee. So like I'm like a zombie walking to the coffee machine, and I just can't wait to hit that hot, steaming coffee. That's my motivation. When I wake up and I've had that feeling, I want to go sleep, I was like, ooh, I can actually have coffee right now.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting moment.
Sounds
for
like
me.
your mistress.
Yo, side note though, Tiff makes like amazing coffee.
Yeah?
Yeah, remember the time we filmed? And that was the first time I had
Yes.
I don't want to name names, but Illy coffee. You made that was a base, but then you made it with, I don't know what you did, man. It was
steamed.
It was prime, yeah.
No, man, she is legit like coffee. What do you call her? Barista? No, what do you call somebody at home that makes coffee really good?
A home barista.
Home barista. She's like, her cooking skills are like off the chain. Dude, I'm so blessed.
You know what it is? If you put love into anything, right, that's going to translate into what you're doing.
I remember your mom at I think it was a holiday.
Yep.
I think it was a Christmas or it
Thanksgiving,
was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We call her Mama. Mama, I remember she said, I can tell this year everyone put love into the food. She could tell from some years, like, we're just kind of making things to make it, but she could tell that year, like, this is gonna be a good year. We're gonna put a little love in the food
because she could taste it.
She could taste the love. It made me think.
It
made me think, like, oh, so now, like, I know the days Tiffany's just making dinner.
There are those days.
And when she's like, and this is majority of the time, like, she puts on jazz music. And you already know what's going down. Or some, there's like, okay, her genres of music all mean something. So when you hear R&B, she's cleaning. When she puts on jazz, we're about to get a meal.
Yeah.
And then when she puts on some hip hop, we about to kick it. So
Tiffany's like on the dot.
Her music tells the story of where we're going that day.
Look at that. My husband knows me.
No. knows. He knows.
But no, I'm super excited to have Tiffany join us for the not only today's episode, but she's going to be part of the new series of Builder of All Things podcast. You know, we're kicking off this one, right, Ray? And we're going to start bringing in guests.
Yes.
So yeah, stay tuned. We're just going to talk about life, faith, and business, just using this platform to share not only our faith, but relationship with other business owners, relationships with each other. Talk about our continued experience in business, ups and downs. We've definitely had some successful years, and but we actually have our roller coaster rides as well, and just share how we get through it and things like that. So super excited to kick this first one off and for this season, and just have my partner right here by my side, and
Road Dog,
and we could talk smack live in front of everybody and love each other in front of everybody.
Do you really want that though?
Oh, bring it.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm joking.
But Richard, real quick, move your mic towards your right. Yeah, and then turn it. Yeah, there you go. Cool. Yeah, but I noticed that was that too.
Full effect.
Full effect. Yeah. But I noticed that you said her name was Mama. You guys call her Mama, yeah. I want to talk about names for this podcast, and you know, when you give someone a name or when you call someone by their name, why is that? Or you know, you give them not a nickname, but there's some value or there's something to it, right?
Yeah, I want to talk.
What are your thoughts on that?
I want to talk about my name here real quick.
Richie, how did you get?
Of course.
I'll let Tiffany expand on the separation between father, dad, mom, mommy, mama. All that means something in our world, right?
For sure, yeah.
Richie, I just want to talk about my name real quick.
Richard
is my father. So, but they called him Rich, you know, for short.
Sure.
And so, you know, naming me after him. I'm not a junior, middle name different, and I thank my dad that he didn't give me his middle name this is his story as well. It's like Earl is his middle name. That's like it's almost like a sound when you are gonna. It's like it's early. You know, I don't know. It's like throw up. You know?
Earl.
Yeah. So it's almost.
Yeah, you call Earl up on the phone.
Yeah. So thank you, Dad, for not making me a junior. I can say that because he says that. You know. So, but they named me Richie just so there's some separation. But I love my name, and I could change it now that I'm older. But Richie just sounds bright, and it's kind of.
Young,
welcoming, young, you know, the E at the end, Richie. You know.
Sounds endearing.
Endearing.
It is, yeah.
So, you know, I think just the name alone, I'm not specifically talking about Richie anymore, but sometimes, you know, names have some substance and power to them, in them by themselves. And then your experience with those sounds and names in your life, I think, with different people, it's like, if I know a John my whole life and he's like super cool or soft and very welcoming, the next John that I meet is already gonna have that. You know how that works, which is crazy. But if you have a bad experience with a Curtis, I'm sorry, all Curtises out there. I'm just throwing out a name, Curtis. Then another Curtis comes along. It's like, oh no,
you have a perception, or you have this.
It's like Karen's.
Yeah, you just have.
Just the name Karen is like.
Yo, shouts out to the good Karens though.
Yeah,
man.
there's some good Karens.
Really
one of our superintendent, Lowell's wife's name is Karen,
and she's a sweetheart,
and so he's always like, you know, trying to stand his ground on the Karen name, you know. So, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about our world and how we define the father, daddy.
Well, before I go into that, I do want to say that names, everything you said is correct. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. I don't know if you remember that sermon that Pastor Mike talked about, the relevance and the importance and the meanings behind the name, because you're going to carry that for the rest of your life. And that says, and it can speak things on you into your life. So Richard is actually what? A king.
Powerful ruler.
And Bro, the last name Bro is what?
It's the holder of the sword.
So he has a very powerful name.
Powerful hand too, because he broke the. he was winding something here, and the metal part bent.
And And that makes a lot of sense because scripturally, Jesus changed people's names.
Exactly.
We're not saying go change your name or out there, everyone. We're just saying like what Tiffany's saying is very true. You know, there's a history behind names that continue to carry this almost like a spirit on it, right? I don't know. I mean, don't take that for what I'm too deep, but you know, it's like there's something on there. So that's good, Tiffany.
Yeah. So what did you say you want me to expand on?
Well, I think it's pretty cool in our world how there is a separation between a father, a daddy, then how we separate.
You mean our world? Is
yes.
Okay.
Mama, mommy. You know, like what are all those terms?
What are the tiers?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start with a father.
Okay.
So anybody can be a father. I know you've heard this term before. Anyone can be a father, but it takes someone special to be a dad. So for me personally, you know, I have a biological father. So I always refer to him as my father. You can't really change that. But the man who raised me, my stepdad, I've never called him stepdad, but that's my dad. You know, so for me, that's the difference. Mommy, my kids, I told them that they have to call me mommy until the end of time, until it's all said and done.
It's kind of like the E at the end of Richie. It's like
it's
mommy.
that endearing. It's more, if you think about ma or mom, it's just like, you know, anybody can be that. But the inspiration for this was that my parents, so my mom and her siblings, they called my grandpa and grandma mommy and daddy. Like to this day, they'll still refer to them as mommy and daddy. And I just find that
very powerful.
So,
and close. And it's that enduring word she used. That just hearing, because our kids now are, you know, in their mid-20s or early mid-20s, and they're still calling her mommy. It's like, wow, it's very powerful, you know.
I mean, when I think about it, it's the first, you know, my mom always told me that we're always going to see you as that little baby boy. And in that time, those are kind of like the first things that they say to you. It's like, mommy. It's like the first thing that they've associated, or, you know, it's that, you know, mom, come, you know. And so I think that's, for me, in my perspective, that may be why, you know, you always maybe see, well, I don't know, like my nephews and nieces, I always see them as like the little girls that they were, and, you know, and like you don't want them to grow up. Well, I don't. But yes, continue, please.
Where was I?
But yeah, mommy and endearing.
And mama.
Mama, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so mama.
Mama, okay.
That's
mama. That's like the next level mommy. So that's like the stern, but the loving, the all-encompassing kind of mommy.
It's the grandma. You know, that's, I mean, great grandma, but it's, you just give mama, you know what I'm saying? That's like the soul food. That's like the
OG type.
The OG. I've been around the block. I'm gonna love you. I don't gotta spank you because I just look at you with my experience and my history, and you already
just
know.
The look.
You know, I don't gotta go to that level. I'll let the mommies do that.
I just oversee.
I'm like the CEO of this family.
Well, so it's funny, right? Because we have grandkids, so I became a mama. But then my mom is like, okay, it's going to be kind of hard for the kids to identify mama, you know. So she's actually G mama.
G mama.
G mama, like the OG.
That's when you're getting to the, you know, that's like the tears for gangsters and family. That's like
that's top tier stuff.
That's OG.
Yeah, that's like Robert De Niro, you know what I'm saying? And The Godfather, that's up there. So that's that G ma.
Yeah.
G mama.
G mama. Dang, that's there's a tier system almost, yeah.
There is,
where
man.
It's like,
there is.
Level of respect almost, yeah. What's funny is I know you mentioned that, you know, how Jesus changed names. That sparked a memory or a story my dad was telling me, and where his dad was going to become a citizenship, and with that you have privileges and you can change your name.
Wow.
And so my dad, you know, he let him in the line and did his thing, and he came back to check on him, and my dad was like, he heard the lady say, oh, Cedric. And he's like, oh, who's Cedric? And he's like, oh, I changed. My grandpa was like, oh, I changed my name. And my dad was like, what? Why did you do that?
Wow.
And he's like, you know, I'm not gonna call you Cedric because Cesar is who you are to me. And you know, he left it at that. And so when it was my dad's turn to become a citizen, the lady was like, oh, so you know, congratulations, blah blah blah. You know, you can change your name if you want. And he was like, oh no, you know, I think I'm okay, but if I would have to, I think I'll change it to Aladdin. And then the lady's like, Aladdin? Interesting. You don't look, you know, Arab or, you know, that kind of, you know, ethnicity or culture. And he's like, oh yeah, it's just my wife's name is Jasmine, so we want it to be Aladdin.
Oh yeah, it's complete.
Complete.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're just laughing. But yeah, it's weird when, I don't know, when someone changes their name, do you think it changes the person, or why do you think someone would change their name?
Well, you know, I think it can, you know, change you a little bit. It's like, you know what is cool is my name's already been changed. It was right before I was born, they changed it to Richie. So originally, I don't know if that counts.
I'm looking at Tiff. Does Tiff know this?
I don't know that.
You don't know my name? You know what my father was gonna name me?
What?
Bo.
Oh, that's right, Bo Bro.
Bo Bro. He thought it was so cool, Bo Bro.
Thank God. God knew that I was coming into your life.
Last minute, he changed it. Oh man.
Last minute, he knew.
He knew. But no, it can. I mean, if I walk around being a Bo, I might have acted a lot different from day one, you know? I mean, maybe when you get older, it might not affect you too much, but I think as a kid, what people call you, I think it's very... It's
important.
It does something to you.
At least think about it. Yeah, to think about it. Yeah.
So it's hard to answer that question from, like, now, if you were to change my name to Jake, you know, I might do this when I talk. I'm Jake, you know? I might just...
From State Farm.
Sorry, Jake.
Sorry, Jake. From State Farm.
I just throwing some names out there. I was so sorry to all the Jakes. Jake's a great name. I'm just saying what it would do to me.
Yeah. Well, it's when the first names are standalones are fine. Like Bo is okay, but when you know, there's a Bo Bro. You know,
Bo Bro.
What that'll do to a kid maybe, or you know, kids can be kind of.
Yeah, but see, and that's a good thing too, because Bro was always a cool last name, you know, growing up. So I just became cool. You know what I mean? Because everybody just told me that's a cool name. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I'm cool. So I just carried around the cool role. But
the cool role,
right? If it was I'm joking. But she was like, "He ain't cool. You corny."
I love it though.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, it could. I believe it could have an effect on anybody for sure.
Well, Ray, do you know the meaning of your name?
So my first name is very Filipino because we use two first names. It's Ray Raphael, but my dad's name is Ray, but it's spelled with a R-E-Y versus R-A-Y. And Raphael is a kind of made up name with in the thoughts of Jehovah Rapha. So God is my healer, yeah. And it was because my mom almost died when she had me.
Wow.
And it was a C-section. I was I think 9 pounds or something, pushing
Big
9.
boy.
Yeah, they had to do C-section, and they said she almost died, and so Ray Raphael, Rapha, Jehovah Rapha. Yeah. So all my sisters
so
too.
Cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And
I mean, the experience at that time's not cool, but hearing you know what
it birthed.
It birthed the Ray.
Ray Raphael.
It birthed our Ray.
But there's but yeah, it's when we're talking about like maybe imagining what name you would have had, or I don't know if I would be the same person, you know, today. When someone's giving you a name, there's almost a what do you call there's an expectation almost, and you kind of want to live up to that expectation. And sometimes that could either mess you up or catapult you to be the person who you are today. And it's interesting to step outside my body and look at it and think, oh, what if you had a different name? It's kind of interesting.
I remember you asked me, or we were asking each other, I forget when this was, like, what name do you look like? Do you remember we had that conversation?
Vaguely.
I remember thinking in my head, this is a trap, if I say any other woman's name to my wife, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. I said, you're Tiffany all the way. There is no. It's a trap. I'm not doing it.
I don't remember.
So let's never play that game.
Sounds
Okay?
accurate. It sounds accurate.
Yeah, could you see the face she gave me when I just talked about it? It was already like, what name do I look like?
Yeah.
Tell me now.
But Tiff, do you have a middle name, or
I do have
is it just Tiffany?
It's Tiffany Mokihana.
Moki. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Moki. So that's actually, that name is
We gotta
already
say it Moki.
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 Accentuate the O.
This is
Yeah.
all day, every day.
I'm trying to.
She's
teach
helping.
him.
No, but she's trying to help my mainland tongue. Say the local native terms correctly, and I mess them up.
Yeah.
Respectively, and I'm horrible at them. Please forgive me. I'm trying my best all the time, but it just my tongue just has a hard time hitting it. But I'm never gonna give up.
There you go.
So her middle name has been already carried down to one of our
more than one. So
more than one.
There's 3 of them. that
three
have it.
of our grandkids.
One has it as a first name.
Yeah,
So
one of them
there's
has the
some
first
lineage
name.
there.
Oh yeah, legacy of her
Legacy.
middle name carrying on. Even my middle name is carried on
Yeah.
to her grandkids. So
Yeah.
my middle name is Anthony.
Caius.
Richie Anthony Bro, and then
Caius Anthony.
Caius Anthony.
Caius
So,
Anthony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's our grandson's name.
Right.
So yeah, just seeing those names carry on is pretty cool.
Yeah,
But even your first name is carried on, half of it.
Ooh.
Tristany.
Oh yeah.
Got Tiffany, got the N-E.
That's a blend of me and Christy.
Mhm.
Tristany.
So it's crazy. It's like all our kids have like 5 names.
Yeah.
Is that right? They all have 5 names.
I think so.
Is that the magic number?
Can't imagine all the signing that'll
Yes.
happen.
5 names.
I'm like, is there
So they
just
all
gonna
have.
be a
It's like it's pretty cool, just being able to see, and they all have like, cultural and family. It's like you have your name, but then you have the culture, the Japanese.
Yeah, I wanted to keep the Japanese in there and the Hawaiian in there.
Yeah, so you have a name for the cultures, and then obviously the last names. So it's pretty cool, man. Just coming from the mainland where you have your typical, 3 names, but even the middle name. Like I want to study. Like why do we have middle names?
for Filipinos?
I'm interested.
They take usually they take the mother's maiden name and then put it as a middle. So my name is Ray Rafael Bautista.
See, that makes sense.
It's
I
to
think
keep.
somebody told us that before.
Yeah.
But like I don't
Traditionally,
like,
that's how
in the mainland. It's
Filipinos
just
is.
like I'm gonna name him this with the last name. Let's just throw a middle name in there.
Huh.
I don't know. Like I'm just like,
Interesting.
why is there a middle name? I was always wondering that, but I'm sure it's on like Wikipedia or something. I'll look it up. But
I'm trying to remember who told me that. I think it was somebody who was not Filipino. It was another culture that did the same
they
thing.
did the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, our kids' names, the 5 names. it's
those
like-
make sense. But I'm wondering like, why did they throw Anthony up in there? Because everyone else is doing it. Like everyone else has a middle name.
I think it partly because back in the day they didn't do it right, and I know Hawaiians that's how it was. Like you would take your the maiden name and then that would become your name, or anyway. So I think it's right nowadays it's an identifier because there's another Tiffany Pestana,
Okay.
right? But her middle name is different, and that's how we differentiate.
Oh, it's kind of like
Interesting.
the
a-
other Richard.
Yeah, it's like if you have a passcode to get into your locker, you have just 2 numbers. Eventually, your membership starts growing.
run
2 numbers
out.
is
Yeah,
not
then you
good
start-
enough. You need 3 numbers.
Right,
So
right.
basically, we're gonna get to 4 middle names here coming up.
My gosh,
That's what's going
yeah.
down then, right?
what's
Because
going
3 is not
down.
enough.
Well, I mean, speaking in our generation anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I think with us, when we started having kids, it was more like, okay, we want to be different and we want to be fancy. And,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
Different-
already almost happened to me. So there's a guy on our. This is where we lived maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
H block.
H-Vlog?
He
Not
lived.
H&R, but
I'm at the store one day, Foodland grocery store, and my name is said because I got some points.
okay.
Thank
So
you,
like,
Mr.
oh
Bro.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Bro. And the guy behind me was like, oh, your name's Bro? That's so crazy. How you spell it? And I was like, oh, I spell it like this. He was like, that's how I spell my name. I'm like, wait, for real? There's a bro. He's like, dude, I live right around the block. I'm like, I live right around the block.
What?
Like, oh, this is so cool. He had no like teeth or anything, so he's like, I don't know if he really lived like across the street on the street, but he was like, he looked like he wasn't doing so well. I was about to buy him some food, but he was like, my name. So I was like getting really connected. Like I'm like, he's like, what's your first name? I'm like, Richie. He was like, no way, my name's Richie.
Oh, I don't know.
So no, I was like, oh no, now you playing with me, dude. Now you playing with me. So I'm like, so he pulled out his ID. His name is Richard, bro.
What?
I'm like, my name. So I'm like, my name is Richard Anthony, bro. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
That's crazy.
And I looked at his street, my street, both lived on the same street.
What?
Address.
Just lived down the street from us.
It was crazy. So yeah, it was kind of
was
a cool.
Was he white?
No.
I was gonna say like, oh, I'm white. He's like, I'm white. Then I'd have been like, get out of here.
No, so it wasn't like blood family or anything like that, but it was a crazy experience. So later when we, jumping into business, like when we got our contractor license, we were having a hard time because we found out there was, man.
I think give her a moment.
Why is it so funny?
It's getting hot in here.
You okay?
Oh no, just letting
your
this.
temples?
Yeah, I'm just letting it rest. I have been having
rest
bad
temple?
TMJ.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
You're laughing so hard, your thing's fogging up. Your glasses.
Well, that and the AC's off.
It's coming out through the eyes already.
Through the eyes. You better go clog that thing.
Oh.
Better get your little windshield wipers.
Okay.
Let me defog.
Okay.
Default. Oh man.
I use contacts, I think. I'm so blind though, I can't see. I don't recognize you two from here.
I like it. I actually got a good look with the glasses though.
Yeah, it's always been.
It's like
It's
you know.
It's part of the name, Ray.
Yeah.
They see Ray, it's always there. Yeah.
Okay.
You had he had contract something.
Oh, just talking about the business side of things. I remember we were getting our contractor's license. We had a red flag come up in my name, and I'm like, they had 2 public records on me. I'm like, what?
Public records.
Yeah, like on my credit report, there was like these 2 like red flags. Like, oh, you got like a public record, 2 hits on your credit report. You can't have that to get a contractor's license. Wow. I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I had to go do a lot of research, try and figure out what this is. And I went down to the, the state office. Where'd I go? The courthouse. Went to the courthouse to figure it out. And there we went through all the documents, and I go, boom. That's not me. I seen the middle name. I was like, this is the other guy. They're like, where do you live? I gave my address, and they're like, oh no, that's the same. I go, no, there's 2 numbers off that he lives down the street. Like, so come to find out, like a lot of things on my credit report were from him.
Wow.
What also happened during the process of getting our house? Remember that?
That's
there was
wild.
some child support
We're really
thing on
putting this guy's name out there right now, aren't we?
I gotta be careful. It just clicked. I was like, oh shit.
We got to be careful. We might have to kind of be careful.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the middle name.
Yeah.
So when I recognized the middle name was different, I'd go, boom, that's it. So I said, I fought it, showed my license. Luckily, my license identifies my middle name, and then we cleared it all up. It's just crazy. Like, I don't even know why we were talking about that.
Well, the coincidence of that person living on the same street, having the same first and last name, and then, being pulled up, the records being pulled up. I'm like, that's crazy. That's such a coincidence.
It's such an experience. So,
have you ever met, you guys ever run into him again?
No.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
I used to work at Apple. Now that we're talking about a little bit of business, but I used to work at Apple, and one thing that I always told the new guys was to try to learn people's names, learn customers' names, or customers or guests. I would say we would call them. learn their names and build rapport, and not with the intention of building rapport, but just try to get to know them and try to connect with them. And I told them the reason why is because everyone, there's value to a name. So when you call them by their name, I suspect that there's a sense of respect and all these things that come along with it. So I always told them, like, try to get to know people's names. Good. And don't, try not to forget. I have a bunch. I'm going to show you right now, but I have a note.
You write down everyone's name and
everyone's names. And I remember, all of these. Whoa. These are all names from just...
Show that to the camera.
Shucks, these are all names for... Not the name.
Yeah.
That's these are all crazy and smart.
But I can remember there's always something... And let's see. North Face. I went to Alamana one time. There was a person. Her name was Trislyn. And I wrote here, honeymoon in Japan in October. They just got married, and it was this Asian girl who was telling me that they're gonna go to Japan for their honeymoon, and then it's like I put that on there, so honeymoon in Japan. Yeah. I remember, yeah. Sometimes I remember faces, but not as much. But it's so crazy that when you meet up, when you see someone again, and you call them by their name. If that ever happened to you, you feel remembered and you feel
man. And there's the other side where that person comes up like, Richie, what's up? And you're like, oh
yeah. How you doing?
You're like, what's up? It's been a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you up to? You trying to find something in there.
How's the family?
Shouts out to B. Shouts out to B at
Man, me and my brother used to play a game. I mean, I still play it to this day, but when you're in the store, just thinking of Apple, it's the customer to the worker. So we used to try to read their tags on their name, and use it before they can notice we're reading it. So, while they're walking up, we quickly read it with our eyes and we're like, thanks, Jay. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
thanks.
But you do that all the time when we go to restaurants.
I still do it to this day. Me and my brother Sean, we've been doing that for years. So I still do it.
But here's the thing, though. From the other side, the customer side, I was thinking about this when Ray was talking, is I love that. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love that when I go to Coffee Bean, they use my name. And me showing my appreciation that they took the time and, just making me feel that little bit of extra special customer service. They get a $5 tip.
And the intent of me and my brother doing it was with good intentions to make them feel
exactly
that way, but the game was who could do it first. Like who was quicker at it.
Oh goodness.
That was the competition. Like if he pulled it out, I'm like, dang, that was a good one.
Yeah.
You saw the name, you delivered it without, that was the game. So
I want to see which one of our kids are going to carry on your, because I guarantee you, because he always does it whenever there's a waiter and he'll say thank you John, or thank you Matthew.
It's so weird.
You notice that there were just guy names.
Because if not, I'd be like, how you know her name?
Okay.
How? Tell me.
Husbands take notes. Okay, husbands take notes. This is years. We're going on 15 years married coming up.
Yeah.
So July. So this is 15 years of notes. So you should see my marriage notes, right?
21 years together, honey.
Here's my
21 years.
Yeah.
Here's my marriage notes.
Oh, you got some notes up there? Look at that small little sentence. What a sentence. What is this?
That was the wrong... I didn't get a chance to pull up the right one.
And that sentence says, try better next time.
Happy wife, happy life.
No, rule number 1, wife is always right. Rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. That's it. You're good. That's my notes. Oh man, yeah. But even me and my daughter. I mean, name games, right? Like me and my daughter, Anuhea, we play a game at the airport where we just sit down and we just name people as they walk by, and we laugh if it's correct or if it was wrong. Like when I say correct, we both agree. Oh yeah, that is a Mark, or that is a Ray. But it's funny is it's kind of going back on your history with names, because somebody walking by like you, we both will name him Ray because it looks like a Ray. So it's interesting seeing what she sees in a name and then what I see in a name. So that's where kind of like the fun part of the game is.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, she's always like, stop it guys, did they hear you?
I actually went off somewhere. I didn't even, all I heard was wah, 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 wah.
Just now? Yeah, that's normal. That's normal.
It happens.
I just start yapping. You know what yapping just is you're just tangenting.
And then I just go off somewhere else. Yeah.
As we head to a close, guys, let's just talk about the name All Things New. Kind of run me through the birth of it and how it surfaced and how it came to be and why you chose that versus you know, something else. I don't know.
Brobos.
Brobo Builders. Triple B.
Well, yeah, I guess I could
BB.
start. It's like, yeah, it could have been like Bro Builders or, you know,
Bro Construction.
You know, because, you know, like a big of the milestone corporations out there like Walmart, Ford. I mean, I can name Gucci. You know, these are all people's names, you know. So, but like our heart, I mean, the goal wasn't to establish this monument of our name or business. I mean, that wasn't the intent. There was just a need in our local community and we wanted to fill it. And ultimately we prayed about it and we seeked for a name that started with the letter A.
Well, we really wanted to be intentional.
Yeah.
We really wanted to be intentional about what we were trying to, you know, get across.
She was asking a lot of questions like, if you are going to go serve the community with your craftsmanship and skills, like, what are you wanting to do? And I was like, or she was like, what can you do? And I was like, I can do everything. Not like being like not to be like cocky or overconfident, but you know, I've touched a lot of different areas in construction, so I feel confident like we can do all these things. And then so she really brought to light all things, you know, like, oh, you can do all things. That's that's a cool name. But I think our faith in just knowing scripturally, you know, we're like, she was like, all things new, you know, like, I was like, you know, like, wow, you know, there was a moment where you just like, it's like God spoke, you know, it's like when you hear the name All Things New, not only is it like scriptural, but that name in itself carries the weight of God. It's kind of like what your name and the history in it, that name, it's like, it speaks for itself almost like, you know, when you really start learning about God, you start knowing All Things New is like one of his big banners, you know? So what was really cool is like, we felt confident in if this were to become a monument, it's okay because it's going to glorify God, right? So 100%, that was like the big key for us was we weren't trying, because, you know, the scripture does say, woe to you if everyone knows your name. And so it's not about like Richie and Tiffany at all. It's not about the bro business or, you know, anything like that, because those things come and go. But, you know, if God was to build something through us, could he be glorified in it? Because ultimately serving the need of the community was like a push from God anyway. So even from the beginning, those instincts and wants to help people and do things came from God. So at the end of the day, he needs to get the glory in the name. So, and we don't want to call it like God's business because, you know, there's a lot of substances behind the word God, you know, what God, who God. So it's really hard to like just throw his name on the banner because he's a lot bigger than just construction, you know. So it just is a good fit when we're sitting there.
And what I love about the name too is even for speaking from if you're a non-believer, it sparks that interest and curiosity, like, oh, why all things new? And I love that in those moments we're able to actually expand and have the opportunity to speak about Jesus and God and all those things. So I mean, it's multifaceted. You know?
And it's a name where we feel confident and to be empowered to go to bat for it as well, right? So like we are okay with, you know, doing everything we can to keep that name strong because we feel like we're holding the banner up for God. So, you know, we don't ever want that name to be tainted because if you taint that name, it's like tainting him a bit. So we hold the responsibility. We respect it. At the same time, we're people and we're going to fail, but we know God's in the name. God's going to have our back, and that's a good foundation for us. And there's a scripture in Proverbs 22:1 that says a good name is better than riches. And what I love about that as a foundation for my heart as a business owner, for our hearts as business owners, is with the confidence that God's in the name, that we'll do everything we can to protect the name over building a portfolio or, you know, trying to gain $1 million or taking businesses into that ocean that we always talk about on our other episodes of trying to conquer the world in business. Right. We are trying to protect the name, you know, because the name and how we serve under it is more valuable than anything. And so there are a lot of circumstances we get with homeowners that owe money, or that there's a situation we're trying to fight over a payment. When I say fight, I'm not meaning like we're arguing or fighting, but we're trying to establish this money's owed. They're arguing a certain area, and we're trying to, you know, fight for our stance that we need to get paid for a certain thing. And in those certain scenarios, across a lot of them in the board and other business owners understand, like, money keeps you rolling, keeps you going. It's the fuel for the boat. But at the end of the day, we make a decision sometimes on how the name is more important than that payment, you know? So in those situations, you know, we seek God. We try to figure out how we're going to handle the situation. But at the end of the day, to other business owners too, it's like losing a payment to keep your name is awesome. You know what I'm saying? You never want to taint your name in a business, period. For sure. Your name holds trust, right? I think it builds trust, and you want to keep a strong name in your business as you keep, you know, growing as a business or keeping sustainability as a business. And your name means everything. You know, as soon as your name starts getting tainted, I have guys come talk to me like, man, you know, I'm like, oh, how'd you hear about All Things New? I'm like, because the other three, I heard about them. You know what I mean? It's like we already won because their name's already tainted. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're already like a fan of ATN because we don't have that bad rep yet. So like other builders. So it's like, you know, protecting your name is very important. And for us, it's even more important because it's a name God gave us. It's a name that is a banner for God, right?
Well, no, I agree 100%. I just don't want people to think that they can get free things because we, you know.
Oh no, we're going to fight for our payments. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they run
we
into
still
business.
Run a business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not. Yeah, you're totally right, because at the end of the day, too, God's got our back. Yeah. So watch out. I say that proudly. No, because if we're running it justly and we're justly due, God's going to get us our money, whether it's from you or somebody else. So, you know, I say that confidently, that every man is due their wage. That's scriptural. Yeah. That's scriptural. So, I mean, I'm not going to throw that scripture into a customer's face. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest. I just had a customer recently. I called them and I said, oh my gosh, I requested a change order. I've totally, like, in our contract, you know, said something that wasn't super clear. I'm reading it right now, but I have back notes that made me remember what this credit was. I'm sorry, but that change order, I'm gonna remove it. You guys actually, you know, you don't have to pay this. That happens. Yeah. But in the other side of the token, if we had the conversation, it's in contract, then, you know, Tiffany's gonna go to bat.
He's gonna unleash the bulldog.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. Just if everyone is just fair and just. But at the end of the day, we want. I guess what I'm trying to say is, from the back end, we're gonna fight for the better name versus the riches, because there's more value in that. It comes, you know, there's value in the legacy of the name. There's value in, you know, a lot of different factors of you know, protecting the name. So.
And doing it right it's gonna take time. I mean, you have to be, you know, keep the integrity with that name, and, you know, keep it unstained, for lack of a better word. But you know, I've heard that saying where good things take time. Good things take time. But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
For all our listeners out there, man, welcome back to the boat, guys. We're just slowly getting back into it. but we are glad to be back in the boat.
Yes, sir.
And as Richie mentioned, we're gonna have guests once in a while.
I mean, we'll
see.
We're gonna start inviting people, and if it's every episode, awesome. You know, if somebody happens not to be available because things are a little different with the world today and availabilities with people. But no, we're going to try to invite friends, business owners, different people we have relationship here locally, and just talk about life, faith, and business.
Sounds,
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Tiffany, last thoughts?
No.
She's like, it's Wednesday and I got work to do. We are at the shop, guys, and it is a work day. But guys, remember, a good name is better than riches, right?
Let's go. Proverbs 22:1.
Yeah, right on, guys. Well, have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys again.
I come from a poor family,
I come from a poor family,
But the Lord been good to us, Now we riding on the top, I come from a poor